Hey guys, what is up and welcome to a new NVIDIA update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over NVIDIA stock. Let's talk about what is happening with the stock, what I personally foresee moving into the rest of the week, and all of that good stuff. So as per usual, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit that like button. This is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section on YouTube is live. That link is down below. For just $2.99 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, post updates on Tesla and just the broader market, sometimes as a whole every single day. Or for $5 a month, you get access to all that plus daily NVIDIA updates every single day as well. Link is below for the YouTube membership. But all that being said, let's jump into it. NVIDIA closing the day with a pretty beautiful 3.5% rally, which is a nice little bit of an outperformance compared to the market, closing at $106.50 per share with a nice little pump towards the very end of the day, the last like 5 or so minutes of the day, which was actually pretty important. Honestly, I think this was a really important pump, which could be a good sign for NVIDIA moving forward, but there's still some work to be done. So I'll go over what I personally see happening right now. So let's talk about it. So NVIDIA had this nice little bullish crossover on the stochastic all the way down here when it was around $102, and it's so far playing it out as stochastic is now approaching the overbought territories. But NVIDIA is at a pretty major inflection point in my opinion. So the reason is pretty simple. You can see when NVIDIA was all the way around here, not like what, a day or two ago, this was Thursday/Friday, not sure, it's just Thursday. You can see how many times it got supported by this general range of about 105 to about 106 ish, right? You know, you can see all these candles. Every time it came down here, it kept, you know, it essentially kept getting support. It stopped going down lower, right? Pretty simple, until obviously Friday came in pretty aggressively. But nonetheless, this area was obviously a support. And what happened today for the most part of the day, we pretty much took this exact range right here and we acted it as a resistance, right? Support here, resistance here. But then you can see in the last 5 minutes, we broke back above it and actually closed above it, which is a promising sign, and it's gapping up post-market. We'll see that continues, of course, into tomorrow morning, but not a bad sign. There's still more work to be done, however, but this is not bad, right? Now, the next thing that's coming up is the fact that, well, we're now actually entering what could be a little bit bigger of a resistance, which is going to be something that on the daily chart has in the past proven, and even recently also has proven to be a resistance, which is pretty much 107 to 110. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised to see NVIDIA move up closer to 110. If it does, and this is in my opinion the bullish scenario, if it does move up to 110, I'd expect a rejection nonetheless. I'd expect to move back down to about 107, and then I expect it to hold and then make its way back up even higher. This is the bullish scenario. Why? Well, pretty simple stuff, right? We essentially broke above this little resistance intraday that we had. That was a resistance for the past couple of days. Or rather resistance today, but it was support on Thursday. Great, it's kind of 106-ish range, right? That's a small one though, that's a very small one, but nonetheless a good sign. If we do end up actually making our way back higher, right? I expect it to move up to somewhere closer to the top end of this potential supply zone, which again, 107 to 110. If it does, I expect a rejection. Then I expect to move back down something like this. And the reason I expect this and what this would set up if this does play out accordingly in a bullish way is a small little inverted head and shoulders on the 1 hour chart. And then from there, we can make our way even higher on a break above 110. So in other words, in my opinion, probably the most important level to look for is a break of 110. Maybe we ignore this entirely. Maybe we just completely break it, you know, as early as tomorrow or Wednesday. Also a possibility. But moving forward, I personally think the 110 is probably the most important range right now, or level really, to break for NVIDIA. And if it does happen, I still believe NVIDIA has a pretty damn good chance, if that were to happen, to move up to about 117 to 120, that next supply zone. That's kind of what I personally expect NVIDIA to do if 110 is broken. However, below 110, you know, there are still some problems, right? There are definitely still some problems. The bearish scenario still very much is intact, right? And a move back down all the way to the green trend line, which is closer to like 97, 98, $100, somewhere around there, is still very much in play. So keep that in mind, right? That, in my opinion, that is still very much a target as long as we're below 110. But again, breaking above 110 and turning into resist or support would be a good sign. And I think we move up higher to 117 to 120 along probably with the market, right? Because NVIDIA moves very similar to the market. Now, another way to look at NVIDIA that's pretty simple is this. We printed an inside day candle. Most of the market printed an inside day candle today because there was such a massive red candle on Friday. What does that mean? Pretty simple stuff. If NVIDIA can break today's range tomorrow, so let's say it breaks the high of today or the low of today, it most likely continues heading in that respective direction. So for instance, if NVIDIA does gap up today and it comes back down, gap fills in the morning, for instance, I'll draw it out quickly. But let's just say it opens up this, you know, 0.6% higher tomorrow morning, just to make it simple. Let's say it does that. I expect to move down like this, gap fill, and then probably move up even higher, right? That's kind of what I would expect because it broke above the range, right? It broke above today's range, which is an inside day candle range, right? If we break above that, I'd expect the move to break back above 108 would be the ideal scenario. Break above 108 brings it to 110. Break above 110, I think brings it to 117 to 120 over the next week or two. That's just kind of how I'd look at it. And then I'd probably expect a rejection from there. But if we have issues around this general supply zone that I just talked about, 107 to 110, again, move down all the way to this area around 198, whatever is expected, in my opinion. The daily stochastic, you can see, is starting to finally curl. It's no longer just pointing straight down. In fact, it's actually starting to finally point up. It hasn't crossed bullish yet. There is still some work to be done here, but it is getting damn close, and it's looking a lot better than it did just a day or two ago. So that's a good sign as well for NVIDIA, right? It's finally starting to curl. It just needs that little extra push or two. So we'll see if that happens. And in my opinion, that extra push or two will be essentially a break of 110. If we can break 110, this most likely will get a bullish daily stochastic crossover. And I think at that point, a play to 117-ish to 120-ish is, becomes very realistic. I really think that becomes a realistic target. That's just kind of the way I look at it. But keep in mind, the overall trend for NVIDIA, it is below the 21 EMA, right? It definitely wants to recapture the 21 EMA. For instance, there is a chance that maybe if we do break above 110, all we do is come up to retest this 21 EMA instead, and we don't even reach 117. That is a possibility. So you want to look at all these levels as major potential resistance zones. Above one, you go to the next. Above that one, you go to the next. Above that, you go to the next, and so on and so forth. You take it kind of like a step-by-step process, right? So above 110, I guess I should say the first level would be this 21 EMA, which is currently around 115, depending on when it happens. The longer it takes, the more this is going to come down with us. And the smaller the target will be to get to the 21 EMA, which could be good or bad, really. But yeah, so you definitely want to watch out for that. The BX trender finally made a slight higher low, which, slightly showing that the bullish momentum is starting to slowly pick up. But with CPI Wednesday, PPI Thursday, these things can change pretty damn quickly. But as it stands right now, NVIDIA, it's trying to base. It really is trying to base. I wouldn't say it's out of the woodwork just yet. I wouldn't say it's safe and it's ready to run. I think it's, in my opinion, still too early to say. You definitely need a little bit more confirmation because there is still a very real possibility it does make one more leg lower to, again, like the 100 to 97-ish dollars per share. That is still a real possibility, right? So you want to be careful about that. You really want to be careful about that, especially if it loses this, like the low of Friday, right? If we lose the low of Friday, at the very least, it's coming back down to this 98, 97, $100 per share, and from there we'll of course continue to revisit and see how it's looking. But I'd expect a bounce from there as of right now, and yeah, we'll take it step by step, day by day, and there's no reason to rush into it, right? There's no reason to predict 10 weeks out from now. Just let these levels kind of dictate it for you. Let these levels decide where it wants to go next. It's been working pretty well so far, so let it continue doing that, right? We've been talking about how it's looking bearish even back when it was all the way up here at 120, and we came down all the way to pretty much almost $100 per share. That's a 20-point difference, right? That's a lot of price action, right? That's almost 20% drawdown just off of this general like 16.5% drawdown just off of that, right? So again, let the levels dictate it for you, right? It's been working pretty well so far. Let it continue doing that. But if NVIDIA can start closing daily candles above the 21 EMA, that would be pretty bullish. And this massive potential bullish pennant that it's setting up over here could start looking pretty damn attractive if we can start closing candles above that yellow line, the 21 EMA. So those are the main things I'll be looking at, right? In terms of options flow, NVIDIA is the most bullish today with a nice respectable 21 million flow, which is pretty damn good to see, which is not too bad at all, which I like to see. And you can see towards the end of the day, a lot of bullish flow came in on NVIDIA. So the bulls are definitely stepping and they're definitely trying to push this thing upwards, right? We'll see if they have the momentum to do so. The levels to look for, at least the levels I'm looking for and paying attention to. Again, it's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but if NVIDIA gets another one or two pushes upwards, I think the daily stochastic will cross over, and I think it can definitely start looking pretty damn attractive of a move to higher, especially if we start closing above the 21 EMA. Very, very attractive. On the flip side, honestly, a move back down to 100 to 97, in my opinion, pretty damn attractive area to buy the dip as well. So take it step by step, let these levels decide it for you, ladies and gentlemen. But that's kind of all I got for you right now. Let me know what you think about it down below, and I'll see you all for the next update tomorrow, or probably tomorrow. My NVIDIA updates, by the way, will be, I'll make it very clear, if nothing happens at all, and if my thesis has not changed whatsoever, I usually won't make a video for NVIDIA on that day. I'll usually make them only when something worth mentioning is there. So just keep that in mind. If you don't see an NVIDIA video, that's probably why. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you probably tomorrow. Peace.